Okay, this video is a video for the application of for loops. So hopefully by now you've learned what a for loop is and some basic problems of how to solve programs with for loops. But today we're going to talk a little bit more about what for loops can do for us as programmers. So one of the things that we can do with for loops is we can create code. So we can create code with for loops. So for example, if I write a for loop for var x equals 1, as long as x is less than or equal to 5, x plus plus. This is going to create, I'll do document dot write, and I'm going to push some divs in here. Just going to create 5 divs, and for now I'm just going to put the word hello in each of them, right? Until I get 5 divs with the word hello in them. Or if I wanted to, I could put x in there, which is the value of the loop control variable, and now I have a div with numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now, while that piece may not be so impressive or so exciting, if we take that idea just a little further, then we can do some really interesting things. So I'm going to come out of the script for a second, and I'm going to write a select statement. We'll go name equals birth year, and ID equals birth year. And what I'm going to do is normally we would write a set of option tags in here. Option value equals, we would start with 2020, and then we would write 2020 and then end the option tag. And then we'd have to do the same thing for 2019, 2018, however many years we want to do that. However, what we can do here between these select tags is we can insert script tag. And we can use a for loop using this kind of idea to let the code generate that information. And so what we're going to do is we're going to do for var x equals, and we'll start with this year, which is 2020, and we will go as long as x is greater than or equal to 2000. So we'll get 20 years worth of years, and we'll do x minus minus. And now what we do is document write, and we do that option statement that we just saw. So option value equals, and it's going to be x, and then we show x, and we end the option tag. Of course, for this to work, we have to get, let me move this over a little bit. For this to work, we have to get these x's out of the quotes so that we get the variable values and not just the letter x in there. And so now what happens when I run this is I now have a drop down that goes from 2020 all the way down to 2000. I could take this a step further if I wanted to. We could create a variable here called start year and set that equal to 2020 for a user input. Or even better, we could do this. We could do, let's see, we'll do var today equals new date. And instead of setting start year equal to 2020, we'll set start year equal to today dot get full year. And by doing that, now what I'm doing is this is going to be good in 2020, 2021, 2022. It's always going to start with whatever the current year is. And then I'll do a variable called num years, which I'll set to 30. So we're going to show 30 years back, or we can make it even 50 if we want. And so now instead of starting at 2020, I'm going to start at start year, and I'm going to end at start year minus num years. And we refresh this, and now we're starting at 2020, and we're going all the way back to 1970, 50 years before the start of this. So that's a real easy way to do drop downs if you're doing date options, expiration for credit cards, those kinds of things, birth date entries. You can generate that information fairly quickly without having to write 50 option statements. You can use a variable to do that. The next thing that we can do is we can actually use this to work with some user input. So here we can use a for loop to total the inputs of a user. And so we're going to write a for loop, and let's say we're going to give them 10 numbers that we're going to ask them to input. Actually, yeah, so let's start with 10. So for var x equals 1, as long as x is less than or equal to 10, x plus plus. So there's my loop that's going to run 10 times. And what I need is I need a variable out here before the loop called total, which I'll start out as 0. Now in here, I'm going to say var input, which is what I'm getting from the user, parse int window.prompt, enter a number. And so now what I've got is 10 times in a row, they're going to enter a number and it's going to get stored temporarily in input. And then what I do is I say total equals total plus input, which just as a reminder means we're going to take whatever's in total, add input to it, and then store it back in total. So the first time, total 0, let's say that I input the value 5. 0 plus 5 is 5, total is now 5. Now the next time I put in 8, 5 plus 8 is 13, total is now 13. And we go on and on like that. And then after the loop, we can do document.write, we can output total. And so we'll go 3, 5, 6, 4, 7, go to 6, 8, 9, 2, 1, 0. So there's my total of those numbers is 44. I could go further. I could, instead of setting them to be only 10 numbers, I could say to the user var how many equals parse int window.prompt how many numbers. And then instead of going from 1 to 10, I can go from 1 to how many. And so now, how many numbers? I want to do 3 numbers. And we enter 1, 2, and 3 for a total of 6. Or how many numbers? 6 numbers. And we enter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 for a total of 21. So we can get really, really into this. So this is adding a total, but we can also count things from a user. So let's do another script tag here. So we can also use it to count information from a user. So we can say var count equals 0. So same idea as a total. And I'm going to have them input a bunch of numbers. So for var x equals 1, as long as x is less than or equal to 10, x plus plus. So we'll have them input 10 different numbers. And we'll take their input. So var input equals parse int window dot prompt, enter a number. And now what I'm going to do, let me just comment this stuff from before out. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to check and I'm going to output the number of even numbers that they input, or we could do the number of positive numbers that they input, anything that we really wanted. And so what we're going to write is a condition here inside of the loop, and we're going to say if input mod 2 is equal to 0, that means it's even. If that is the case, then I'm going to count that number. I'm only going to count the number of evens that they give us. So we got 10 numbers. I'm just going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So I add 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. I should end up with 5, and there they are. Now, if I run that again and do 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 10 times, then I get 10. And if I do it with all 5s, and I have 0 because they didn't enter any even numbers. So this concept of using for loops to do some work for us, either by creating code or by calculating information from a user, is a really powerful thing. So we'll go out to the web here. Go here and we'll get into that JavaScript for loops lesson here. Things are taking a little bit long. Sorry about that. Okay, and JavaScript for loops. And then we go out to the practice problems. Um, Hopefully you've been working previously on level 1, 2, and 3. Now we're down here in this set of for loop applications. Write a program that asks a user for 5 numbers and calculates a total. We just saw how to do that. Write a program that asks a user how many numbers they want to average, then using a window.prompt, ask them for those numbers and output the average. Remember, an average is just a total divided by the number of things. Have a user input 10 numbers. If it's divisible by 2 or 3, keep track of the sum. And then write a program which takes two distinct integers, a start and an end, and calculates the sum between them. You're going to have to figure out which one is bigger and which one is smaller to make that work. So take a look at these for loop applications and do some work with those, and we'll see you next time.